Hey everyone, welcome. So today we're going to break down a sales technique that is honestly a total game changer. It flips the old way of selling completely on its head. If you're in sales and you're looking to, really boost those closing rates, then you are definitely in the right place. Okay, so let's start with a question. When you think of a good salesperson, what do you picture? I bet it's someone who's super charismatic, right? A fast talker who's always got the perfect pitch ready to go. The kind of person who can just talk anyone into anything. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? Yeah, this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. This is the big idea we're digging into. The real secret weapon for closing those huge deals isn't about having a polished speech. Nope. It's all about the questions you ask. It's about turning a one-way lecture into a masterfully guided conversation. All right, so the proof. Because look, this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. This is a strategy that has been tested in the real world with some pretty incredible results. And to see just how powerful it is, we're going to look at probably the most famous case study out there, the story of Xerox. So back in the day, Xerox did what everyone else did. Their sales team would show up, fire up a product demo, and just list off all the cool features. The traditional show and tell. But then they made a massive change. They completely ditched the product-first approach and instead focused on mastering the art of asking questions. And what happened when they switched things up? Well, the results were absolutely staggering. I mean, just look at this. Their closing rates just shot through the roof. We're not talking about a tiny little bump here. This was a complete transformation of how they sold, and it worked. Let's put a number on it. A 30% increase in closing rates. 30%. And what's really wild is when they pulled this off. It was during a really tough economic downturn. So that just goes to show you this method isn't just some fair weather trick. It's incredibly powerful, especially when customers are being extra careful with their money. So the big question is, how did they actually do it? Well, they used a simple but brilliant framework called SPIN. It's an acronym, and it basically gives you a 4-step roadmap for any sales conversation. Let's break it down step by step. Okay, so SPIN stands for situation, problem, implication, and need-payoff. The best way to think about it is like a ladder. You can't skip a rung. Each stage builds directly on the one before it, and together they guide the customer and you to a totally natural conclusion. All right, first step, S for situation questions. Your goal here is super simple. You're just a detective gathering facts. You're trying to get a clear picture of the customer's world right now. What are their processes? What tools are they using? You're basically just setting the stage. That's it. So a perfect example would be something as simple as this. See how easy that is? It's totally neutral, it's not pushy at all, and it gives you a crucial piece of the puzzle that you're going to use in the very next step. Okay, once you've got the lay of the land, you move on to P for problem questions. Now that you know their situation, you can start to gently probe for, problems. You're looking for challenges, frustrations, any little thing that isn't quite right for them. And see how this builds directly on that first question? You asked what software they use, and now you can ask a super specific question about it. You're not just randomly asking, got any problems? You're pinpointing a potential issue based on what you just learned. It's a natural follow-up. Okay, now we get to the I for implication questions. And listen, this is where the magic really happens. A lot of salespeople stop at the problem stage, but it's not enough for the customer to just know they have a problem. You need them to feel the weight of it. These questions are all about the consequences, the ripple effects. A question like this is a total game changer. You're taking a small annoyance, the software is a little slow, and you're turning it into a concrete, painful business cost. We're not talking about slow software anymore. We're talking about lost hours and wasted money. All of a sudden, this problem feels way more urgent, right? And that is exactly the secret to Xerox's success. Their customers weren't buying a faster printer or a fancier copier. No way. They were buying a solution to the pain of wasted time. A pain that the salesperson helped them discover and quantify for themselves. They bought to make that pain go away. Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the N for need-payoff questions. So you've established the pain. Now you pivot to the positive. You ask questions that get the customer to tell you what the perfect solution would look like. The key here is they're describing the benefits in their own words. This kind of question is just so powerful. You're not saying, my software will save you time. Instead, you're asking them to imagine the future. You're getting them to connect the dots themselves, to spell out the positive business impact. They are literally making the sales pitch to themselves, right in front of you.
So when you pull all 4 of these steps together, what you get is the core lesson, the big secret behind how Xerox completely turned their sales around.
And here it is. This is the golden rule of spin selling. Your job isn't to be a convincer, it's to be a guide. Your questions are the path. You lead the customer down that path until they come to the conclusion all by themselves that they have a problem, that it's a big deal, and that they need to fix it. And honestly, when you can do that, it's like having a new superpower. You stop being just another salesperson trying to push a product, and you become a trusted advisor who helps solve real problems. It will absolutely change every single sales call you make from this day forward. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. For your next sales meeting, forget about planning your pitch. Instead, think about the questions. Think about the journey you can take your customer on. What's the very first situation question you're going to ask?